I think we can get started. How is everybody going? All good? Good? Where is the energy? How are you, everybody? Hey, very good, very good, very good. Cool. Welcome, everybody. And yeah, today is all about security. We're super exciting. And Ian, you want to say a few words first?
First of all, it's really good to see so many friendly faces that we've all met before, and great to for the faces that we don't know, it's good to have you coming into our security community. We really want to work with everyone in the space to make this place a bit more safer for users and for devs and so on. So yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah, no, thanks. I think thanks for everybody to be here. And I think, like, as everybody saw, like, this is a much more like a familiar space. We didn't throw like a 1,000 people conference. We really wanted to speak about security all day. So you will see a bunch of panel. We will go through some agenda, but first some welcoming remarks, right? So you will have different talks, panels today. We just want to start with our ecosystem exists in one of the most adversarial environment in existence, right? It's not easy, right? Why we are here, what were we debating, and what we're doing all days. Like, this is a cool tweet or X from StreetRun about open source. I mean, attackers can read the code, open state, open entry, open exit. And this is really like the hardest environment where code can be ever deployed. I don't know how many of you guys are, I don't know, since when are you only in open source, but definitely it's not easy to be in that space. But I think it's also one of the most rewarding part of our job. And yeah, let me check here. The clicker. We got fault from the clicker. I will go back. Oh, thanks. Maybe the next one. The hardest code ever been deployed in. There you are. This is also a cool tweet from Ken. Diffa code is launched. It's damn hard to get right. But what it comes from the other side also is the most resilient and valuable code ever written. I think this is also like the rewards where in the space that we're working today. It's not just about open source, but it's all about resilience.
Yeah, and I think it's not just about the code, but it's also about all the layers that we have in the ecosystem, whether it's the actual networks themselves, or whether it's the wallets, or whether it's the dApps and the smart contracts. I think we're in this massively adversarial space, but it's about having resilience at all the different layers to allow it to stay permissionless and open.
And I really like when with Ian we were building these welcome remarks. He was speaking about analogies, right? And yeah, I let him taking over about analogies. It's quite cool to see what he came up to.
Yeah, so I think we're trying to sort of compare what we're going through with Web3 to other sort of periods in time, let's say. And so just for a bit of fun, if you click through, we're sort of wondering, are we in a similar stage to sort of the golden age of piracy, which was sort of, in the sort of late 17th, early 18th centuries, where, you had all these sort of bands of pirates going around stealing, attacking merchant ships, and the seas were not safe. But, that analogy is not great, because what ended up happening was the British Royal Navy came in and basically sort of secured the seas globally, and then that eventually got replaced by the American Navy. And we don't really have the British Navy for Web3. It's not going to be, the Ethereum Foundation or, Bitcoin Core or, Consensys or, Coinbase or whatever. We aren't going to. So that analogy is not great. The next one was sort of more on the bankless side. Bankless, we're going west. We're going to the frontier. Is this about sort of a similar sort of space, which is like anarchy, like the sort of the gold rush mentality, the whole sort of craziness of the opening of the West of America. And once again, I don't think that's a great analogy, because what basically happened was, after the Civil War, a lot of the U.S. military got deployed to sort of basically safeguard and bring sort of, in brackets, order, let's say, to that area, and we don't have that either here. Another one was Star Wars, and are we like here in the battle between good and evil? And despite me always fancying being Han Solo, I also didn't think that was a great analogy because the white hats are actually the bad guys in Star Wars, so that doesn't work either. And but it was sort of sitting at a beach with Barbara in Tel Aviv actually last summer, where we started to sort of think about this as actually establishing an immune system. And it felt like the parallels of what we're going through in Web3 are a lot more similar to the organic nature of building immunity rather than sort of militaristically setting up a massive organization to go and crush the bad guys. And if we click through to the next one, within a sort of healthcare system or immune system, we talk in a very sort of adversarial manner. We talk about protecting yourself from infection. You fight off diseases, you shield, you're battling an illness and so on. So this language is very, very militaristic. And when I first got involved in Web3 security, I was asked to document something called the Web3 kill chain. But it didn't really get very much traction internally within Consensys because Ethereum, we're basically in Ethereum, we're sort of like a bunch of hippies, right? Or at least, and this idea of like trying to set up some sort of militaristic, military industrial complex type sort of cyber security chain just didn't get traction at all. But when we started talking about it as an immune system, people really started to get it, and they started to get on board, and they started to really want to work with the ecosystem. And I see like everyone in this room being part of this immune system. Everyone here has a part to play, and it's not about one group or one company or one set of standards or a wallet or an L2 or whatever. It's the entirety of this room. It's the users, the protocols, the dApps, the L2s, layer ones, you name it. So and within the immune system, it's also interesting how, I talked about all those different components. You've got the wallet, you've got layer twos, you've got sequencers, you've got nodes, you've got all these different, and it's very similar to the immune system where you've got all these different components. And in fact, what's funny is the immune system itself has nodes, right? So we have nodes in our bodies, and those nodes filter out attacks, right? They're a filtering system that goes and identifies infected cells, similar to what we try to do identifying infected smart contracts or infected wallets. And so there's a lot of parallels around an immune system. And if we just go to the next one, and so I sort of like started spending time sort of looking at how natural systems compare to Web3 systems. You don't need to go through all the details of this, but it's interesting how both natural and Web3 systems, they evolve, the scams evolve, and our own standards evolve quite rapidly. Maybe not in Bitcoin, but because that's more ossified. But even so, it's coming, right? We've now got all of this ordinal stuff and BIPs and so on, BR20s, BRC20s. But we've also got these complex networks. In the natural space, we've got biomes and populations and species and countries and so on. And we've also got that happening. L2s are like a sort of different biome. Each L2 is almost its own sort of population, let's say. As I said, the attacks evolve and mutate, and then we've got these different types of infections. So cells get infected, but also addresses can get tainted. Smart contracts can be malicious. We then sort of can test and track what's going on. We do that through sort of taking blood tests in the natural world, but we're monitoring we're monitoring and we're indexing and we're using nodes and so on to see what's going on. And then there's all this research and development that's going on. And so in the natural space, it's about medication, vaccines, and so on, whereas in our space, it's really about security services and having a whole series of different, and we don't get a vaccine from one provider. We don't get We don't even get all of our immunity from vaccines. And so this idea that we can all work together to try to build resilience and find and all these different providers identifying their strengths and focusing in on that, I think is sort of the way we build this sort of immunity over time. So hence, everyone in this room really, we're reliant on you guys to sort of work with us to help build this immunity for the space.
I love really this analogy. That's amazing. We are all building the next immune system, and we are all today for this, right? We want to learn, we want to share what we're building, and when we want to go next. Let me share the next slides. So today is packed, and the slide. Yes.
I think the final point is there's always a risk when we look at security that we are going to then start to make compromises. It's very easy to compromise on, let's say, we need to know everything about the user. Like, we need to KYC that user to make sure that they are legit, for example. And that goes against the ethos that we definitely feel is in the space. We need to stay true to our ethos around decentralization and permissionless. We need to stay true to user privacy, and we need to stay true to user security. It is a balancing act. And I think I always I'm getting like hundreds of angry texts each day from people saying, we're not doing this, we're not doing that, why aren't you doing better, and so on. But, it is about trying to find this balance and gradually build up this immunity rather than just say, right, we're now going to start to block everything at the sequencer level. That is not maybe the answer for what we want to do in this space. So the idea here is that we want to try to layer in this immunity while staying true to these, and please understand that we can't do everything that you feel we should be doing, because we want to try to keep this balance and keep true to our ethos.
Sounds good. I'm always saying snaps, but I think it's something for later. Cool, let's go to the next one. I think the clicker is not working. It didn't get enough coffee. Awesome, cool. So we have a packed agenda. We have different sessions from like lightning talks, to fireside chat and panels, and we will start with Sam, and we will let a quick intro later today. But you will see a recording from him speaking about the problem we're trying to solve. Nikita will also go through a guide to modern phishing attacks. Craig will speak all about threats in Web3. Then we have this panel on the evolution of scam from Om and Martin. And then we will have another panel on user privacy and wallet security. And we finish up the morning with Elad on frauds. And it's quite packed and also exciting. We will also show what's going on in the afternoon. I don't know how many of you guys been yesterday in the Snaps meetup. So you heard already a bunch of like cool, interesting talks. We will have Christian. Again, he will speak about the road of permissionless wallet security. So different session on exploits from Andy, Taylor, and Jennifer on security, and then Niv, Sahil, and Gal. Like I wanna get it through quick so that we can go directly to the talks. But it's quite a packed agenda. Like I really encourage everybody to also ask questions, not just during the panel, after the talk. And you guys enjoy and brainstorm and grow together. And I think that's why we're all. About today is all speaking about everything security related. Cool. And thanks Ian for everything that you do every day, yeah?
No. So there'll be some QR codes popping up to give feedback. If you do give us some feedback, it gives you the right to get some sessions with our security partnership team. So take advantage of that, and we can get sessions booked over the next couple of weeks, okay?